All right, let me check in with probably what is highly problematic, but also semi-comedic. Orlando Furioso. This is Canto 25, up to stanza 68, where we are getting recounted the story of Ribonetta, who of his twin sister. This is very relevant. Bradamante, who he tells a story about. Oh, here's an amusing story of how much we are alike. Nobody can tell us apart. And indeed, Bradamante is galloping through the forest one day. Some thugs come upon her, wound her head, and so a passing hermit cuts off her long hair, which she actually winds around her head. It's so long, cuts it to basically a man cut. And she's feeling a bit weak still, so she lies down by a font where a queen, Flordeспина, comes along and sees Bradamante lying there all hunky in her armor with this man cut, and believes that she's a man, and instantly falls in love with her, and is kind of gets close and by word and like hey, let's get together. But Bradamante's like, let me dispel. Let's try and nip this in the bud before it's too late. I'm a woman, not a guy, and of course, you couldn't love a guy, but it's too late. She does, and Florespina decries love's cruel ways here. Here, I'm just gonna cover over my my mug here. She decries her fate, saying like there's how could love be so cruel. We have things of cruel love inspiring a mother to lust after a son, or of kind of the old ancient Greek thing where a woman develops a passion, a lust for a bull. This is one of the curses of the gods, and is so horny for this bull that she gets Daedalus, the great inventor, to make a wooden cow for her so she can have her lust satisfied. And that thus gives birth to the Minotaur, that and other ones. But this is beyond them all. Daedalus would not be able to help me, because nature reigns supreme. I'm a woman, and there's no way a woman could love another woman, much less like a doe, or a ewe, other ewes, which is this. I'm assuming this is sarcasm on Aristo's part. It's like the idea of women loving other women isn't unknown, unless this is such a macho culture that it is that is beyond the pale of actual imaginations. I don't know. Is this sarcasm or is this not sarcasm? Um, Regardless, Bradamante's not into it, and Flordeспina is tortured by it. And in the end, they do repair to her place. They sleep in the same bed. Bradamante just sleeps like a log apparently, but Flordeспina is tortured throughout the night, woeing herself. The next day, she gives her a horse. After a couple of days, gives her a horse and some gold, and Bradamante rides off, goes tell the family. At which point, Ribonetta hears the story and goes, "Oh, Florespina is super hot," and I was like totally into her, but I decided to just nip that in the bud because what's more useless than useless love, doomed love. But now that I know I have a chance, so this is where, even, I mean, if you think that the part about like there's no way a woman could love a woman is problematic, uh the next part is Ribonetta goes, here's my chance. He dresses up in Bradamante's armor, takes this Spanish horse as a gift, and rides back and claims that he's Bradamante. And indeed is welcomed in, gets a kiss on the lips. It's like, oh, and it was a real kiss. Like, Fortespina obviously is still, despite it being a woman, is totally into what she thinks is Bradamante. And they dress Ribonette up as a woman, and he's like, oh, and he kind of performs femininity and all that, and he even gets some hot looks from people who doesn't probably, I'm assuming, guys who don't realize that he's actually a guy in women's clothing. So there's there's that again. Ha ha ha. A guy in a dress is not always funny, but he's apparently hot in the dress because, I mean, he's basically Bradamante in a dress. Um, and they get to sleep together. At which point he does actually let her know. Oh, well, no, he doesn't actually let her know. What he does is he makes up a story that he saved a river nymph from from a troll who'd caught her. The river or lake nymph or whatever says, "Oh, I'll give you a wish," and changes her, he claiming he's Bradamante, into a man. And so it's like, hooray! I'm a man, and you can feel me. And indeed, she does feel him. And then they prove more vigorous tense. I leap upon the fort, and I'm not slow to plant my standard and subdue my foe. So we're really kind of at least Ribonetti's telling of it. This is in Ribonetti's voice here, is like, yeah, real lusty, like, I got to plant my standard and subdue my foe. He's totally into it. I guess we'll see how the poem feels about this and how this story plays out. We found Ribonetta surrounded by angry villagers about to be executed, until he's rescued by Rigurio and Isabella, I believe it is. God, see, this is the thing, is it goes on for I read these daily, so that by the time I get to this part, I'm like, okay, who is he telling the story to at the beginning? Because that was 3 or 4 days ago. I can't remember, but yeah. So it's one of these things of, we're getting kind of themes of love, of thwarted love, of inconvenient love, of taboo breaking love, I guess, in this society. And we're also getting, like, people doing really shitty things, like deceiving, like, oh, I'm going to deceive this woman into being with me, into loving me, by pretending to be my sister turned into a man, which is like, well, there's some levels of twistiness. My prediction is that Flor de Spina won't care that she's been tricked, that this isn't actually Bradamante, and that she'll just fall in love with Ribonetta, which is really shitty. She should be like, fuck you, I'm in love with your sister. But I have a feeling it's not going to go that way. I guess we'll find out. That's the fun thing of stopping in the middle of reading something and just talking about it, and also talking about it in hopes I'll remember it. I probably have to go back to my last commentary to see who I started this story out with, because I can't remember at the moment because my brain is a sieve. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.